everybody. This is Leslie Kuster, and I am the author of Seven Keys to Seven Figures, the Women Entrepreneur's Guide to Money and Freedom. And welcome to this show, which is so much fun. It is called She Rises, and we are live right now. We're live on Facebook, we're live on LinkedIn, and we're live on YouTube. And I have today an amazing guest. Her name is Stacey Lauren, and she is just a absolute wonderful person. I had the privilege of meeting her this summer at a mastermind that we went to. Stacey is just somebody who just does things and pushes herself against her comfort zone. And she actually created a business that is called Do the Thing. And she really does a lot of challenges and challenges people to really go beyond their fears. She is a lot of fun, and I'm really happy to have her on the show. Before I bring her on, though, I just want to remind you that I am still giving out free bonuses for my book, Seven Keys to Seven Figures. And you can see the little scrolly thing at the bottom. And just go to that website and you will get the free bonuses when you also purchase the book. So definitely check that out. And so with that, I'm going to bring on Stacey. Hey, Stacey, welcome.
Hi, I'm so excited. I feel like I've been part of this because we talked about it. I think it was after your podcast interview on Do the Thing. And then we ended up going live. I think that like next week that we were just doing a check-in call to see how we were doing. And we were talking about this show. And now here I am. I'm so excited.
I know. After I did the book, I had so much fun. I had been interviewing a lot of women entrepreneurs, and I was on a lot of women entrepreneur shows. And I was like, I want to keep this going. And, and especially around the issue of visibility. And you just jumped on it. And I think I was on your show or something, or maybe we were chit-chatting. And then you were like, let's just go live. Let's just do it now. And you didn't prepare. I didn't prepare. I didn't know what you were going to say. You didn't know what I was going to say. And we really did it, right? We did the thing, which is what you teach people to do, which is so cool. So listen, I know you have a lot of background in your business. I know you even did an exit, which is a huge thing. So tell us more about you, and also what was the real deeper motivation behind Do the Thing?
Yeah. So I started out just like, if I think of long ago, college student, selling books door to door through college. That's how I put myself through school, which honestly was like the best thing I could have ever done for myself, because that's where I got the ability to handle rejection and actually like rejection, strangely. And also learning about positive thinking and goal setting and all that stuff. And then years later, I had opened up a business with my ex-husband, basically. And we had that business for 20 years and really helped, helped thousands of people get jobs, and then helped hundreds of companies basically find people to remove bottlenecks for their company. Because, when you're in a company growth stage, the hardest thing is really finding the right people. And so that's what that company basically did, is it helped companies remove those bottlenecks for their growth. And so I got a really kind of 10,000 foot view of all things, basically, because by seeing both the person and that identity shift of wanting to find a new job, and then the company wanting to actually grow their business. So anyway, after I exited, I was lost.
Wait.
Oh,
This
sure.
is a big deal, exiting, that you were able to build a business that others wanted to buy. So did you come from a family entrepreneurs, or
Yeah. So
entrepreneurs
technically,
since you were 7?
Yeah, so technically it wasn't as sexy as what you're making it sound like.
It sounds
Yeah.
sexy.
Well, so I got divorced, and then we co-founded the business together, ran it. I was the CEO, he was the CFO. And then we got divorced. And because we had two separate sides of the business that we were running, we actually tried to keep it going together. And then we basically were deciding who's buying who out, because it wasn't working. So it was I sold my half of the business to him. So I didn't get the cool, sexy exit, that I would have wanted, I think. But it's good because then I got to just really kind of tap into what I wanted. But this is part of the reasons why I got so lost after the exit, is because it went from this like thing where like constant people and people are needing me, and like hustling, and just like every day I'm talking to this person and that person and helping and fire and this and that, and then all that noise stopped, and it was like so isolating at that time. But as far as to answer your question, I didn't really come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad I guess he has his own business, but it wasn't ever like talked to like really entrepreneurship. I think a lot of um my want and desire was just out of me not having money, like going to
Mhm.
having to just like constantly be hustling, for income. I think that's where the passion comes from.
Yeah, yeah. The wanting to have money is a really good instigator. That was my story too. Like I had the freedom, but I didn't have the money for a really long time. And that was when I changed everything in my own business. So yeah, I totally, completely relate to that. So how did Do the Thing start and what in the world is it?
Yeah, so I was lost and swimming around. I just, like it's kind of like I reached the dream that I thought I would have wanted, because then I did that exit. I sold my half the business. I, had money at that point, and honestly, like I thought I would be the happiest ever, but I wasn't. It was like miserable. It was like so miserable because I just felt so alone, and my whole identity was wrapped up in this business for so long. And so I just yeah, I just was like, I went through it was like one of my breakdowns. I had several breakdowns, over those years. And that was one of my breakdowns, is like, what am I supposed to do? And actually I had this moment where I was like, at my deepest, darkest moment, where I was either going to check myself into a mental hospital because I was
Mhm.
struggling so much, or go to a fitness camp. And I'd say fitness camp because I'd done that before when I was like exhausted and depleted, and I went to a fitness camp and it helped. The reason why fitness camp, it sounds ridiculous when I talk about going to a mental hospital or fitness camp, and I chose fitness camp, but like the reason why it works is because I got to be a sheep, and just like follow along. And the key thing, which actually kind of goes back to what I'm doing with Do the Thing now, is I was around people that were like wanting to get fit too. And they were like so supportive and so encouraging. And I would caught up in their energy. And so, anyway, at this fitness camp, that's when I met a friend of mine who is a book strategist. And she was the one that had said, gotten me interested in writing a book, and then which later became Do the Thing, which is still in process of me writing, and that story. But she was like asking me pretty much what my struggles were with doing the thing, like when have you not done the thing? And I couldn't answer that question because in my mind, in my memory, I've always done the thing. Like I wanted to do sales, I did sales. I wanted to open a business, I opened a business. I wanted to, all these things that I wanted to do, and I couldn't remember. And she was like, well, that book isn't going to be very good because like no one wants to see your success. They want to see your failure. They want to see your hero's journey. And so that's when she told me, like, you need to interview people who are doing the thing and get their hero's journey and find out when they failed. So then at least you can include that in the book. And through that was when my podcast started, which was kind of the beginning of all Do the Thing. Because once I got to start talking to people and just having this like intentional space of just being able to have like these levels of conversations with people, it really just kind of like brought me back to life, honestly. And so then I decided I wanted to dissect a formula for how people do the thing. And I think by the 80th episode was when I got the formula down. And then once I got the formula down, that's when I decided I wanted to test the formula to see if it worked. And that's when I ran my first challenge. And so since then, I've been running challenges, basically using the Do the Thing formula as a way to get people to take action and get the results they want.
And did you do that on which platform? Like, where were you asking people to join Do the Thing?
I love Facebook. So I didn't love Facebook before. I barely even like, I don't know. After being divorced and just like I just couldn't even like scroll through and see everyone's happy family. Like it was just too hard. So like I'd never really looked at Facebook, like my feed. I did have a group that I was in. It was a Peloton singles group over 40. And so I like only really used Facebook for that group. And so Facebook was the group that I ended up using to build the community. And it kind of came from that Peloton group because when I had my idea for my first challenge, I posted it in there to see who was interested. And then 100 people like immediately signed up. And so that's how my first challenge was created.
Yeah, and I see the people are leaving comments. I see Sarah Moses left you a
Oh,
comment here,
Sarah.
love your work, and then two other people, but there's no names there that they love do the thing. And I remember also hearing in something I was in with you that you were like so nervous about being visible that the first picture you posted or something with you was with your eyes closed. I mean, your eyes were closed. So that was how kind of insecure you felt
Yeah.
about being seen. And one of the purposes of what I'm doing here with She Rises is I suffered a lot personally with feeling unseen,
Mhm.
with like wanting to be seen, wanting to be acknowledged for like the wisdom I had, or if I had any, or the work I had done with my own business, but like feeling passed over all the time. And that was a lot of my struggle. And so I wanted really to give women a platform here that anyone who's a woman entrepreneur, and this is an announcement, if you're a woman entrepreneur and you would like to come on the show, please contact me because you are very, very welcome here. So I find that part of you really interesting, that you are so nervous to kind of show your face, and yet your
Yeah.
whole business now is kind of about being visible. So can you talk more about
Yeah.
that?
I would
Maybe
love to.
an example too of the
Yeah.
struggle?
Oh yeah, and I'm pointing out Sarah Moses. I see her here. She's the podcast host of Do It Now, and she's up to really great things. So I'm thinking she'll be great for your your show next. But I'm sorry, I can't see who the other people are. But anyway, yeah, no, I when I was CEO of that company, I had 60 employees internally and 600 external employees, and I was still staying hidden. Like I was working my. Can we curse on here, or is it not okay?
Uh, do
My
whatever you
butt.
like.
Okay. I'll
See,
just say
whatever
butt.
you want to do is great.
I was like working my ass off, right? Like I was like just constantly just like putting everything out, fires, pushing and all this stuff. But I just couldn't like even, I'd have associations ask me to speak, to them, and I couldn't do it. I ended up finding my employees that were good at speaking, and I would say, oh, I have this person that can speak to your association. And so I just wouldn't put myself out there. And that picture you're referring to was when a friend of mine was a consultant of mine for like a few months during COVID. And she was like, oh my gosh, you have got to get your like voice out there. You're the CEO of this business, and like they have to hear from you about the job market. And I said no for a while. And then finally I just got compelled, not because of anything. It was like the mission was bigger than me at that point. Like they needed to hear a message from someone that was in the industry. And especially because I was in the construction industry, we staffed a lot of construction positions, and construction was becoming we were fighting for construction becoming essential at that time. And so that was part of what got me to get my voice out for the first time. It wasn't really my voice. If you guys watch those videos, they're hilarious. Like they are like, I'm very like monotone, like this is Stacey with CEO of Ghost. It was like not like anything what I am now. Like it wasn't who I am, But anyway, that was my first kind of like stab at being visible. And then the next, I think, round of it was the podcast. And the first 10 episodes, I didn't even publish. Like I was terrified of just even like hitting. I don't know. I thought like by once I hit publish, like all this stuff was going to happen, and it was going to be like so terrifying. And anyway, what got me to finally hit publish was I had 10 episodes. The founder of my podcast platform had referred me to someone who was doing a cohort, which is kind of like a challenge for people, helping them start podcasts. He recommended me to her. She had me speak as an expert to these podcasters, which was hilarious because I didn't even have my podcast published yet, but I was further ahead than them. I had started my podcast. It still wasn't on Spotify yet. And I had 10 episodes. And so when I spoke to them, I like that was supposed to be an hour. They ended up having me go 2 hours because everyone had so many questions for me. And I got so much just like amazing feedback from people after that. There's something about that. I'm getting chills thinking about it, about that moment where it was no longer about me. And that helped me be like hit publish. So I think the next day was when I actually synced it to Spotify. So that's really like the first step. And then I had another kind of like big thing, which was really more recent. I mean, in the last few months, I had my YouTube channel put out, and that was the same feeling. You think these feelings are going to go away, but they come back, that old pattern of like, oh my God, this is so scary. Why am I putting myself out there? And YouTube was so funny. I like, actually, we're in that group together, Ryan Moran's group. I posted it in the 1% group, and I was like, I just published my YouTube and I am freaking like terrified, like my face is out on this channel. And it's like, it was like terrifying to me. And one of the guys had commented and said, you do street interviews. Like, how are you? Like,
Right.
I literally interview people on the street, and ask them like what's something they've done recently they're proud of. He's like, how are you still scared of like your face being on YouTube? But it is, when you're doing something new, it's terrifying.
It's terrifying. I remember the first time I posted a live video, or not even live, it was a video. I was in some kind of video course learning how to do video, and we had to post a video of ourselves to the private Facebook group of around 8 people. All right, so this is really not that difficult. But boy, I redid that video over and over and over again. And it took me days and days and days just to post it because I was so scared.
Yeah.
What were you scared about? Like, is it the looks, how you look? Is it what you're going to say? Like, why are you scared? Or
Yeah.
why do you think women are scared to be visible?
Well, I know with my company, I think what was scary about that was it's almost like you're scared people are going to find you out.
You
Like,
mean like that you're an imposter?
yeah, yeah. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that you're not as good as what they think that you are, or something, or you're going to say something stupid, or you're going to not know what to say. And actually, the not know what to say is the most common thing that I run into now that I help people start podcasts, go live. Anytime I'm interviewing someone on the street and they're like, I don't know. It's not that they don't want to do it. They want to do it. They just don't know if they have anything that they could say that's good, you know? And it always ends up being like, literally, once I give them the microphone, they're like, they turn into Tony Robbins. It's like really cool. Like,
And they love
literally, it's so
uh
cool. Yeah. And so anyway, that's what it was with the company. And then with Do the Thing, I don't know. It's like I think I was like scared to put myself out there that like, yeah, like what people would think. I think that was that. And then I'm over that completely though. I have no, like, if you don't like me, like, I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay, because it's like I'm so like deeply aligned with
Yep.
what I'm doing now that I want to attract the people that are aligned with like how I am, right? And not what they think I'm supposed to be. I'm over that like, conditioning of like, I need to be something for whoever else. I'm doing it because it's something I want to do. And if it's something you care about too, then let's do this together.
Yeah, I love that. You kind of like take yourself out of it a little bit. We're getting a lot of comments, and everybody, I can't say your name because it doesn't show to us, but people are saying things like criticism is really like why they don't want to do it, being made fun of, like if anyone makes fun of your voice or anything like that. And I'm sure there are lots of other reasons too. But why do you think, Stacey, women, because this show is for women entrepreneurs
Yeah.
in particular, why do you think it's important that women become more visible? And what would happen if more women did allow themselves to become more visible? What do you think?
Yeah, no, and I'm working on this too. I have a new program I'm doing with the Audience Accelerator, which is literally getting people to get their message out, right? So I care deeply about this. It is so important, you guys, because
Yeah.
no one has your unique lens of the experience that you've gone through. So like, you can hear Leslie and I say the same thing, but we both come from a different lens. So you're going to get the message from each of us different. I think people think like, oh, I want to do a new podcast or I want to do this, but there's 100 out there. So
Mhm.
why would anyone listen to me? But they will, because you have your unique lens. And the reason why I think it's so important is because you guys, when I was at my hardest time, if I had heard something that like could just make 1 inch of a difference that could have helped me like move in a different way and maybe have I'm sure I would have still gone through the grief that I went through, but maybe had it be less time, then it would have been huge. And I know so many of you have that, where you have this life experience that you've gone through that you're already there. You have arrived. And especially for those of you that are here that are in the Do the Thing community, it's like you already have gone through a challenge. So you're already further along than someone who hasn't gone through a challenge, right? So you already have this wisdom. And I can't tell if Joyce is here, but Joyce is a great example. But like she didn't like her voice, right? And that was something we've talked about, and she's mentioned it publicly, so I can share it. But and now like she's doing lives like every day, and she just started a group with one of the other Do the Thing community members. And it's like just seeing like that growth, happen exponentially to me is just like the most beautiful thing. And so that's why it's like you just you don't know who you're going to help, but you know what? Who you help the most is you help yourself. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had to get there. That took me a little bit to get there, but like that's what it is. I got reconnected to myself by me being visible. So I love all the people that I'm helping, but who I'm really helping the most is me, because
Mhm.
I finally feel like I am like freaking like so connected to who I am now. And then that's who I'm showing out there.
Wow. That's so great. And it's so true. It's like what everybody has to say is different in the way they say it. And it's, through their own experience. And then somebody commented exactly that, it really is about that your voice will resonate with somebody who needs to hear it at this moment. And it's different than somebody else. And
Yeah. And I
yeah.
just noticed someone just wrote, I don't like my nose. So this was
Ah,
funny too for
yeah.
me, is I did my very first video podcast interview was on video, and it was with a friend of mine, and she had her whole thing was like all done with the lighting and how you have the stacking of the thing and you look all like majestic. And I had watched that video, and I didn't have anything special. And I still don't, honestly, I don't have special lighting or anything, because it just will make it where I won't do it, so I just get on. I only have my mic today normally I don't even do mics doing lives, but I did it today because I have someone outside that I'm hearing like noise. So I did it to reduce the noise. But
So the
anyway,
point is, don't forget what you're about to say, but the point is, and this
yeah,
is a really important point, that you just do it. Like, you don't worry
yeah.
about the makeup. You don't worry about, do you have the lighting? You don't worry about whether your computer is raised at the perfect eye level. You just do it, right?
Exactly. Just do the
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. And so when I watched that video, I saw her look so perfect and she's gleaming and gorgeous and the whole thing. And then I looked at me and I was so critical of myself that I was like, oh, I don't think this is for me, and I couldn't do it. And it was the podcast platform founder that I talked to after. And or was it after? I think I found him after, because at that point I still wasn't sure I was doing a podcast. I was just recording the interviews for the book. And he was like, Stacey, if you don't like being on video, then don't be on video. And he's like, if it's going to take you to do the podcast to just do it on audio, then just do it on audio. And that was like the moment that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. So my first 80 episodes are only on audio. The only video I have is when I did the dating expert panel. And then I think that was it. Yeah, because I wanted to do that on video, but everything else was all audio. I didn't start liking video until I just done it enough that I was like, I don't really care. Oh, I realized too, like, oh, I don't have to wear, like you said, wear makeup, because I realized I didn't want to put makeup on. I didn't want to do this, and then I was like, why do I have to do it? And so that's when I just decided it was easier for me just to go live, do video, and not worry about all that other stuff. And then I stopped being critical of myself. I love myself now on camera because, like, whether I'm in a shower cap, which I've done that before, like after the shower, or if I'm like fully done up, like it's
Yeah.
great because I'm who I am.
Yeah, I love that. And that's why people resonate to you so much. So I absolutely love that. So I want to just wrap it up because we're not going to go on a lot longer here. But one of the things that I think is also super, super important is something that I call empty time. That being a woman entrepreneur, is tough, right? There's a lot going on, and my experience has been that it was when I took a lot of downtime was actually when my own business started to really flourish. And it's totally contradictory. And I often say that if you want to be successful in business, you actually have to stop doing business. There are times you have to stop. And as a woman, we don't want to run our businesses the same exact way men do because we're different. And why do we have to do that? We can do it in our own authentic success. And that's something super important to me to talk about what authentic success is. And for me, authentic success also meant taking downtime, empty time, all of that in order to really replenish. So, Stacey, do you take downtime? Do you do this? And if you do, can you share what you do?
Yeah, I love that you're speaking to this. This is, you guys, like so important because it helps you make sure you're doing it based on what you want and not what someone else is wanting for you. So, yes, I love taking space. I call it, like, a lot of times you're in this fire, and then when you're able to take that empty time, then you're like getting out of the fire and really tapping into what you want. So I just did this. I've been working really hard on putting together my new program. It's an audience accelerator. I did this action class and I had 2 people sign up. So I've been working them through the program, and then I haven't been putting it out for anyone else because I'm putting them through it one-on-one while I'm building the program out. It's been so freaking awesome. And been really focused on it. And then I just took a trip with my daughter to Italy. And so I took a break. I took a break completely where I wasn't really even thinking about the program because I wanted to be able to spend really intentional time with her. And then now that I'm back, it's like all of a sudden I'm like fire. Like I am like on it, because it's like I took that time and that space away. So that is one example of a way. And I did the same thing last, was it March? Her and I went again. We went to, I can't remember if that was the Paris trip or the New York trip, but it was the same. Oh, it must have been in March because I was going to do, oh, no. It was last Christmas. Sorry. That's when I was going to do the podcast challenge. And then I took time and space and then decided not to do the podcast challenge yet. I did the Find Your Voice challenge because I realized they weren't ready to start a podcast yet. They wanted to like get out of that like idea of a podcast, right? Finding their voice was easier. And so anyway, I guess apparently traveling helps me with that. But in terms of like what I can do now, I just started working out again, literally yesterday. I've been really just inconsistent. And luckily the 2 people I signed up for my program are like in the weight loss and the fitness space. So it's getting me to be more intentional now about working out. And I think that's an amazing way to take empty time because like I'm working out at like 6 a.m. It's giving me time. And then my brain is then being able to just like flood with things after because I'm like not thinking about anything, but actually exercise. So that's just another example
Oh,
of a
those
way
are
to.
great examples. There's a comment here in Facebook. It just says Facebook user. So unless you actually write your name in the comment, we won't know who you are. But she writes, I left my 9 to 5 to do my passion project. I have downtime and I'm struggling because I don't see the fruits of my labor like I did when I had a 9 to 5. And I just wanted to address that because it sounds a little bit painful who's writing that right now. Going inside is not always fun and it's not always comfortable. And what I mean about going inside is taking the downtime, the inner time, the time to just reflect on yourself, to write, to go on a walk by yourself. It isn't necessarily always fun, right? Because what comes up, like for this person, is maybe frustration or boredom, or she doesn't feel like she's contributing or she's doing anything with her life. But it is really in these empty times when you have this time that you can really connect with what it is that you really, really want to do. And that part is incredibly important. When we're on like the speed wheel and just like going through our to-do list and rushing and doing all this stuff, we sometimes lose track of what it is that we really, really want. Again, going back to that authentic success. So whoever wrote that, I encourage you to just sit in the uncomfortableness of feeling you're not doing anything in order for you to really connect on what it is that you really, really want to be doing next.
Totally. So important.
Yeah, so cool. All right, Stacey, we're going to wrap up. So you mentioned that you have a new program. Can you just tell people where they can find you, how you want them to find you, and just take it away now?
Yeah, thanks. The best thing is just come join my community. It's dothethingcommunity.com. That'll lead you to the Facebook group and it gets you into the world. And let's say you're not ready to start a podcast yet and you want to be on other people's podcasts. This is the space for you to be able to just get uncomfortable and do this thing where you're able to get your voice out in a way, in whatever way makes sense for you. And then as far as the Audience Accelerator program, I'm currently not taking anyone new for that, but it will be opening up in January or February. So if it's something you're interested in, let me know and I'd love to at least put you on the waiting list for it because it's going to be amazing.
Oh, I bet it is. And then I love all your do the things. I love the name of your business and everything. It's perfect.
Thank
So
you.
Stacey, thank you so much. And anybody listening to this is my new show, my
Yay.
new passion project, really giving women entrepreneurs visibility. You're welcome to come on my show and you can just private message me here or just go to my email, which is leslie@lesliekuster.com. And you can see the spelling of our names with our pictures right here. So leslie@lesliekuster.com. So definitely do that. Stacey, this has been so much fun, as it always is. Thank you so much for being on She Rises and can't wait to connect with you again.
So good. Thanks for having me. Thanks, you guys, for joining.
Bye, everybody.